Hi, Andy. Good morning. Online people, please confirm my voice is audible or not.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Okay, thank you. So, as part of today's session, we'll discuss about Agile methodology. Because if you are going to work in the real-time projects, we need to follow SDLC process. So, what's the meaning of SDLC? It's nothing but our software
development life cycle.
Development life cycle. So we need to follow SDLC, or we can able to call it as software development life cycle. So in the real-time projects, we need to follow the process for the purpose of working in the projects. And for that reason, we need to understand about our SDLC. At the same time, we need to understand about the Agile. Why we need to understand the Agile is nothing but because nowadays, in most of the projects, people are using Agile. So for that reason, as part of interviews also, better you have to say we are following the Agile process as part of our project. Better because as part of real time, most of the projects are following the Agile only. That's the reason as part of interviews, if they're asking what is the methodology you are following in your project, then you can able to say we are following the Agile. But if you want to specify that answer, you need to understand about what is Agile, what is the purpose of the Agile, within the Agile, what activities we are going to perform. All these things we need to understand. All these things we need to understand. That's the reason as part of today's session, first we'll try to understand about the Agile. With that, you can able to get the clear picture how we can able to implement the Agile as part of our real-time projects. Okay, just 1 second. Can able to say earlier days, around I can able to say 6 to 7 years back, in most of the projects we are seeing the methodology called as nothing but waterfall model. As part of our previous projects, 6 to 7 years or 10 years back, and in most of the projects, we are following the methodology called as nothing but waterfall model. First, we'll try to understand what is the waterfall model. Then we'll come to the Agile methodology. With that, you can able to get the clear picture. Earlier, what we have done in the real-time projects. Now, what we are doing as part of our Agile methodology. We'll go one by one. First, we'll try to understand waterfall model. As part of waterfall model, we are going to work on individual phases. As part of waterfall model, what is going to happen? We are going to work on the individual phases, and so we are going to have the phase 1. After completion of the phase 1 only, we are going to start phase 2. After completion of phase 2 only, we are going to complete the phase 3. After completion of phase 3 only, we are going to complete the phase 4. Like that, we are going to have the multiple phases as part of our waterfall. After completion of each and every phase, then only we are going to work on the next phase as part of our waterfall model. Now in this waterfall model, you can able to see first phase is nothing but requirements gathering. And after gathering all the requirements, next step is nothing but we need to perform design activities. After completion of design activities, we need to perform build activities, or we can able to call it as we need to perform the coding activities. Now, after completion of build activities or after completion of dev activities, then we need to perform the testing activities. After completion of testing activities, then we are going to perform the deployment activities. After completion of deployment, then we are going to perform the monitoring activity. So like this, we can able to see the multiple phases as part of our waterfall model. But in the waterfall model, what is going to happen? First, we need to gather all the requirements of your project and we need to get the sign off on top of your requirements. After getting the sign off on top of the requirement, then only we are going to start with our design activities. And after completion of all the design activities, then we are going to perform the dev activities. Now you tell me, when testing is going to start here in the waterfall model? When testing is going to start? After completion of all the dev activities, then dev team is going to perform the deployment to the test environment. Then only what is going to happen? Your testing activities are going to complete. After completion of the testing activities, you are going to get the sign off from the QA team. With that, we can able to perform the deployment activities. After that, we can able to perform the monitoring activities, and indirectly we are going to work on the phase by phase. Earlier I mentioned phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, but instead of calling it as a phase 1, phase 2, we can able to say first phase is requirements gathering. Then we are going to work on the design activities, then build activities, then testing, then deployment, then monitoring. Like that, we need to work on the each and every phase one by one. Now tell me, for example, you want to start the testing here. What is the dependency? Dev team need to complete all dev activities. This is the one dependency. At the same time, we are deploying our product, or we are deploying our application to the prod after completion of all above phases. So what is going to happen here? We are going to deploy our product, or we are going to deploy our application to the prod environment after completion of all above phases. And now, for example, to complete all above phases, it taken 6 months of time. Just assume that. To complete all above phases, it taken 6 months of time. After 6 months, you deployed your application to prod. Now, after deploying your application to the prod environment, your business people came into the picture. They verified your product, and this product is not as per their expectations. Actually, as a business people, they expected one kind of product, but you build the one other kind of the product, and you taken the 6 months of time around to complete this product development and product deployment. After 6 months, you deployed this product to the prod environment. Then business people came into the picture. They verified your product. During the verification, they understood that this is the not expected product what they are expecting. And now indirectly, what's going to happen? Again, we need to change the requirements. Again, we need to perform the design activities. Again, we need to perform the build activities. Again, we need to perform the testing activities. Like that, we need to repeat all this process. But when we are repeating all this process, after completion of 6 months, you are deploying your product to the production environment. Then your business people come into the picture. They are saying that this is not our expected product. Can you please redesign the product? Indirectly, what happened here? What's the disadvantage here? What's the disadvantage? Unnecessarily, we are wasting more amount of time, and after spending lot of time, if business people are not going to satisfy, then we need to rebuild all the activities. So if business people are not going to satisfy, what is going to happen? In these 6 months, whatever the work you are doing, you need to perform the reactivities on top of all those tasks, and indirectly, we are going to waste the time to perform same activities one more time. Now, instead of doing all like this, what we can do here? Instead of waiting for 6 months of time to do deployment activities, what we'll do here is, we will deploy small portions of the work in iteration wise. So what we can able to say here, instead of waiting for 6 months of time for the purpose of doing our deployment activities, what we'll do here, we are going to perform the deployment activities of your small portions of the product. Instead of deploying the complete product at a time, what we are going to do here, we are going to deploy the small portions of the work, or we can able to call small portions of the product on the iteration wise. And for example, every 15 days or every 30 days, I will deploy a portion of the work or a portion of the product. Now, once we are going to deploy within 15 days or within 30 days, and it's not a complete product, it's a part of the product. After 30 days, if you are going to perform the deployment activity, your business people verified this, and if there is any issues, what we can do here, how much amount of work you completed? You completed only portion of the work, or we can able to say you completed only 15 to 20% of the work. Now, if business people are not going to satisfy, or if business people are going to see any kind of issues, what will happen? Here again, we need to perform the rework. But tell me, as part of this approach, we are going to perform the rework on the complete project, or we are going to perform the rework on the only portion of the work? We are going to perform the rework only on the portion of the work. And in the previous example, what's happening here, after 6 months, you are taking the 6 months of time, you are doing the complete development of the product. After 6 months, you are deploying the product to the production environment, which is nothing but you are deploying the complete product by spending 6 months of time. After that, you are deploying your application to the production environment. Then your business people coming back and they are giving the feedback. This is not our expected product. Can you please do the modification? Which is nothing but you need to do the modifications on the complete product by depending on the business requirement. But in this approach, what's happening? In the second approach, we are doing the deployments iteration wise, which is nothing but every 15 days or 30 days, whatever the amount of work you are completing, only we are deploying that portion of the work on top of your production environment. For example, instead of deploying 100% of work or 100% of product, you develop only 15% of product and you deployed it. Then if business people raising any concern, what will happen? It is a kind of rework for only 15%. Now, instead of deploying 100% of the product, if you are going to perform developing the only 15% of the product, and if you are deploying only that 15% of the product within 15 days or 30 days, then if business people are going to raise any kind of concern, what will happen? You need to perform the rework. But instead of doing the rework of the 100% of the product, you are going to perform the rework for only 15% of the product. And indirectly here, as part of this iteration model, we can able to save the time, and also we can able to get immediate feedback from end users. We can able to get immediate feedback from the end users. Based on that immediate feedback, you can able to perform the changes on top of your product. Instead of doing the changes for the complete product, we are going to perform the changes for only particular part of the product. With that, we can able to save the time. At the same time, we can able to get the regular feedback on top of your product. With that, we can able to save lot of time. And but all these are going to possible when we are going to follow this kind of iterative approach, or we can able to call it as a incremental approach. We can able to call iteration model, or we can able to call it as a incremental model. As part of iteration model or as part of incremental model, instead of waiting for complete product, we are going to perform the deployment for parts of the product. With that, we can able to get the regular feedback from the end user, or we can able to get the regular feedback from the business people. With that, if they are going to raise any kind of concern, we can able to do the fixes immediately. With that, we can able to save lot of time. And whatever the iteration model or whatever the incremental model we are discussing, this iteration model or incremental model only, indirectly we can able to call it as nothing but Agile methodology. Now you try to give the answer. As part of Agile methodology, when we are going to perform the deployment activities after 6 months or after 1 year, or we are going to see the regular deployments in the Agile methodology. What we can able to say? Simply we can able to say Agile methodology is nothing but a kind of a iterative model, or we can able to call it as an incremental model. As part of this methodology, we can able to see regular deployments, and by depending on the projects and so we can able to see the 2 weeks of work, or we can able to say, or we can able to see 4 weeks of work, which is nothing but every 2 weeks we are going to perform the deployments, or every 4 weeks we are going to perform the deployment. That we can able to call it as nothing but iterative model, or we can able to call it as a incremental model. But instead of calling it as a iterative model, or we can instead of calling it as a incremental model, what we are calling here, simply we can able to call it as a Agile methodology. As part of Agile, we are going to perform the regular deployments in the short span of the time, within 2 weeks or within the 4 weeks, or in some projects we can able to see 3 weeks of duration also. So within 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, by depending on your project only. So what is going to happen? We can able to see the regular deployments. With this, what will happen? Within 2 weeks, if we can able to perform the deployment activity, immediately you can able to get the feedback on top of your application, or you can able to get the feedback on top of your product. With that, we can able to perform the fixes immediately on top of your project. That's the reason nowadays most of the people are following the Agile methodology as part of our real-time projects. Okay, now you try to give the answer based on all this understanding. What are the issues with the waterfall model? As part of our discussion, based on this understanding, what are the issues we are having in the waterfall model? We need to wait for completion of each and every phase. This is one disadvantage. After completion of all the dev activities only, we can able to start the testing activities. And second thing,
more
we need
time
to wait for long time for complete product deployment. This is the second issue. And third one, after deployment, if business people raising any concerns, we need to do rework on whole application or on whole product. That is the kind of the disadvantage we can able to see on top of your waterfall model. Now, how to overcome all above issues? What we can able to say? Simply with the help of iterative model, or we can able to say with the help of Agile, we can able to overcome all above issues. But tell me, as part of Agile model, are we going to perform any different magic activities? We are doing the same development, we are doing the same testing, we are doing the same deployment, and your work-wise nothing is going to change, but just what is changing here, only process is going to change. Instead of waiting for complete product, or instead of waiting for complete development activities, what is going to happen? Once a part of the development is going to complete, for example, 10% of dev activities are going to complete. Then what we will do here, immediately on top of that 10% of the work, we'll perform the testing activities, and we are going to deploy only first that 10% of the work. With that, you can able to get the feedback. With that, we can able to perform the changes. After that, again, we are going to work on the other 10% of the work. Like that, we are going to work on the chunks of work as part of our iterative model or as part of our Agile model. With that, what will happen? You can able to do the deployments immediately. At the same time, you can able to get the feedbacks immediately. With that, we can able to do the required changes only on top of that 10% of the work. With that, we can able to save the lot of time as part of our real-time projects. For that reason, in our real-time projects, regularly we are going to follow the Agile methodology in the current situation. Okay. Earlier we are following the waterfall model only, but at present, in most of the projects, we are following the model called as nothing but Agile model, or we can able to call it as a Agile methodology. Okay. And one more thing we can able to say, this Agile methodology is suitable for big projects. And coming to here, we can able to say one more thing. Waterfall methodology, generally it is suitable for small projects. If it is a small project, then we can go ahead with the waterfall methodology. If it is a kind of a big project only, if you want to handle the big projects in the very careful way or in the proper way, then what we can do here, we can able to go ahead with the Agile methodology. This is the way simply we can able to understand why we are moving from the waterfall methodology to the Agile methodology. In the same way, just I want to show you some information here with the help of the slides. Try to read all these statements and we'll go one by one. First one, this is about the waterfall model. As part of waterfall model, just we need to understand some high level statements. Whatever we discussed in the notepad, same information we can able to see in the slides also. First one, it is the one of the easiest and traditional SDLC model to manage. Earlier days, this is the model we are using. That's the reason we can able to call it as a traditional model, which we are using as part of our older days. And after that, because of its traditional development nature, each and every phase has the specific deliverables and it is having the review process. In every phase, we need to deliver some kind of activities. After that, we need to perform the review activities. After completion of that phase only, we can able to go ahead with the next phase. And if you see the next slide, for the first one, requirements gathering, then we need to perform design. After completion of all the requirements gathering, then only we need to perform the design. After completion of all the design activities, then only we need to go ahead with the development. After completion of development, then only we need to go ahead with the testing. Then only we need to go ahead with the deployment. Then only we need to perform the maintenance activities. Indirectly, this is the way we need to work on each and every phase. Again, I'm repeating, whatever the information we discussed in the notepad, similar information you can able to see in the slides also. But in the slides, just I captured all the high level information. With that, just you can able to go through all these points as part of your preparation also. Nandi, just I'm repeating. Next point we can able to see. The waterfall model works well in the small size project. Just now we discussed, if you want to use the waterfall model, you can able to use the waterfall model on top of your small size projects. What is the reason here? If you are going to work in the small size projects, obviously, you know all requirements in proper way, because it's a kind of a small project. If it is a small project, it is very easy to understand the requirement and it is very easy to implement your product also. And with that, what will happen? We are not going to do any kind of issues, or we are not going to perform any kind of mistakes to build the product. And for that reason, once we are going to perform the deployment activities also, mostly we cannot able to see any kind of issues on top of your small projects. For that reason, generally, if you are going to work in the small projects, there we can able to use the waterfall model. At the same time, next one, the whole process of software development is divided into the various phases. Already we discussed all this is the entire thing we can able to call it as a software development process, or we can able to call it as a product development process. In this whole process, every step is divided into the multiple phases. We need to work on each and every phase. With that only, we can able to perform all the activities on top of your application, or we can able to complete all the activities on top of your product. In the same way, this is the generic thing. Yeah, this is one important thing. This observe here. In this waterfall model, what is going to happen? It is hard to move back. What's the reason? It is hard to move back as part of your waterfall model. What is the reason? Because in the waterfall model, what's happening? After completion of the one phase, then we are coming to the second phase, then we are coming to the next phase, then we are coming to the fourth phase. For example, as part of doing the testing phase, my business people came, they changed the requirement. Again, what we need to do here? Again, we need to gather the requirements of the new things. After that, again, we need to perform the design activities. Again, we need to perform the development activities. Then only again, we can able to perform the testing. Indirectly, as part of waterfall model, if you want to start the reprocess, it is a kind of a tough situation, because we need to perform again all the phases one by one. And that's the reason here just we are adding the statement called as nothing but in the waterfall model, it is hard to move back in order to make the changes in the previous phases. In the same way, you see the statement, it is best suited for the projects where the end results are very clear from the start. What is the meaning of the statement? Any guesses? Waterfall model is best suited for the projects where the end results are very clear from the start. What it means indirectly? Yeah, so see here, indirectly, your output is very clear or requirements are very clear. Now tell me, if output is very clear, at the same time, if requirements are very clear, then after completion of the deployment activities, do we need to perform any kind of rechanges? If your output is very clear, at the same time, if your requirements are very clear, then do we need to perform any kind of rechanges after the deployment? 90% there are no chances to perform any kind of changes, because we are very clear about the requirement, we are very clear about the output, and which is nothing but whenever you are very clear about the requirements or whenever you are very clear about what is the output business people are expecting, if you are having that kind of clear knowledge, then what we can do here in such kind of projects, if you want, we can able to follow the waterfall model. But when these things are going to happen, if it is a kind of a small project, if it is a kind of a small project, obviously requirements are very clear. At the same time, you are very clear about what is the output we need to deliver. In such kind of projects, we can able to go for the waterfall model. But if you are going to work in the very big projects only, obviously requirements would be not clear. At the same time, output also would not be clear. For the reason, as part of big projects, better to go ahead with the Agile methodology. As part of small projects, better to go ahead with the waterfall model as part of our real-time system. Okay, this is the way simply we can able to understand what all are the different points we need to understand on top of our waterfall model. Okay, just whatever the points we discussed in the notepad, same information we can able to see in the slides also. But just I captured all the information in the slide for our easy understanding. And at the same time, in the waterfall model, all these are the different phases we can able to see. We can able to see requirements phase, after that design, then development, then testing, then deployment, then maintenance. After completion of each and every phase only, we need to jump to the next phase as part of our waterfall model. Okay, now just observe here. One second. If you see the above diagram, Andy, in this above diagram, first what is happening, we are getting the ideas or we are getting the requirements. After that, we are defining all the requirements in the proper way, or we are gathering all the requirements. After that, we are going to perform the coding activities. After that, we are going to perform the integration activities. After that, we are going to perform the testing activities. After that, at the end, what is happening here, we are going to deliver the final software. This kind of model, what we can able to say, is nothing but our waterfall model, or simply we can able to call it as a traditional model. In this model, after completion of each and every phase, we are going to jump to the next phase. With that, we are going to deliver our final software. But as we discussed in the Agile methodology, what is going to happen? In Agile, we are going to perform everything in the iterative fashion, or in the iterative model, or we can able to call it as a, we are going to have the multiple iterations. In every iteration, we are going to complete the part of the work only. Just I'm representing that in the diagrammatic format. If you see how many iterations we are having, iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3. Now in the iteration 1, if you observe what's happening, you are defining the requirements, then we are performing the coding activities, or we can able to call it as a development activities. After that, we are doing the testing, then we are performing the deployment. After the deployment, what's happening? Your business people are going to review everything, and if any changes are required, they are going to suggest the changes. With that, you can able to perform the adjustment. With that, in the iteration 2, again, you are going to complete the other part of the work. Again, in the iteration 2, what's happening? Again, we need to gather the new requirements, and we need to do the required changes, and we need to perform the testing. Again, we need to do the deployments. Again, we need to perform the review activities. After that, again in the iteration 3, again we need to get the requirements, if any changes in the requirement. After that, again we need to perform the coding activities or development activities. After that, we need to perform the testing. Then again we are going to perform the deployment. Indirectly, as part of this Agile methodology, what is happening here? We are going to perform the work in the sequential way, or we are going to perform the work in the iterative way. We are going to perform all the activities in the iterative way. Iteration 1, we are doing the gathering the requirements, coding, testing, deployment. Iteration 2, again gathering the requirements, coding, testing, and deployment. Iteration 3, again we are performing the same activities only. Now, like this, in the iterative model, we are going to work on the Agile methodology. With that, finally we are going to deliver the complete product. Now you tell me, out of this traditional method and Agile method, what is the difference here? In the traditional method, when we are going to deliver the complete product, after completion of all the phases, then only we are going to deploy our complete product into the production environment. But what about the Agile methodology? In every iteration, we are delivering the part of the product. We are not waiting for the complete product only. In every iteration, we are going to deliver the part of the product. Iteration 1, 20% of product. Iteration 2, 40% of the product. Iteration 3, for example, 80% of the product. Like that, in every iteration, we are delivering the part of the product. With that, you can able to do the review activities with your business people. If they are giving any kind of feedback, we can able to perform the required changes. With that, we can able to continue the activities. With that, you can able to deliver the final product without having any kind of issues only. This is the way you can able to understand what is the difference between traditional model and Agile methodology with the help of the diagrammatic format. Okay, up to here, any questions or confusions, please ask me. Between traditional method and Agile method, I know this is a complete topic, theoretical topic. Today first session is a completely theoretical session, but try to understand why we are discussing all these things. Because if you are going to work in the real time, obviously we are going to follow either waterfall or Agile. But nowadays, in most of the projects, we are going to see the Agile. Every day we are going to listen the word called as a Agile in your project. For that reason, compulsory you need to understand about the Agile methodology. That's the reason we are spending complete one session on top of our Agile methodology only. Okay. Now, for example, if any real-time people are there here already, I am assuming you are already having knowledge on the Agile methodology, but try to refresh your skills on top of the Agile already if you are having the knowledge, because in our class we are having the non-IT people and we are having the non-experienced people. They don't have any kind of knowledge on the waterfall model, or they don't have any kind of knowledge on the Agile model. That's the reason, obviously, I need to explain all these kind of topics as part of our sessions. If you know about all these things already, what you can do? Just to try to refresh your skills. If you don't know about anything, try to understand everything. With that, we can able to understand what is happening as part of our Agile methodology in our real-time projects. Okay. Before moving further, up to here, any questions or confusions, please ask me. Okay. If no questions, just observe here. As part of Agile methodology, or as part of Agile, we are having Scrum and we are having Kanban frameworks. So as part of Agile methodology, we are having two types of frameworks. One we can able to call it as a Scrum, and one we can able to call it as a Kanban framework. But as part of our real-time projects, again, most of the people are following Scrum only. As part of Agile, most of the teams or most of the projects are following the Scrum only. For that reason, we need to understand more about the Scrum framework. Now, whenever we are going to work in the Scrum framework, or if your project is following Scrum framework, we are having the team with 7 to 8 members. So if you are going to follow the Scrum framework in your project, you are having the individual teams, and in a particular team, we can able to see the 7 to 8 members. In these 8 members of the team, we can able to see different people. First person, we can able to call it as nothing but Scrum Master. First person, we can able to call it as a Product Owner. And second person, we can able to call it as a Scrum Master. And coming to third person, we can able to call it as a Developers. We can able to see 3 to 4 developers. And we can able to see 1 tester. So like this, we can able to see multiple skill set people within the single team, and in the same team, we can able to see the developers, and we can able to see the testers, and we can able to see the Scrum Master, and we can able to see the Product Owner. In some of the teams, they will maintain BAs and DS also. What's the meaning of BA? Is nothing but Business Analyst, and or we can able to say one more person is nothing but Data Analyst. Okay, and we can able to say this is kind of optional. In the Scrum team, either we can able to see the Business Analyst, or we won't have any kind of Business Analyst, and they are going to work in the separate team. In some of the projects within the Scrum team only, we can able to see the Business Analyst, or we can able to see the Data Analyst. That's the reason just I'm saying it as a he is a kind of a optional person. At the same time, we can able to see one more person called as a DevOps engineer. What is the role of the DevOps engineer? For the purpose of doing any kind of deployment activities or to perform any kind of infra setup, and we are going to use the DevOps engineers, and we are going to see the DevOps engineers also as part of our Scrum team. But this person also again kind of optional. What is the meaning of optional? In some projects, in some of the scrum teams, we can able to see the business analyst and we can able to see the DevOps person also within the same team. And in some of the projects within the scrum team, we can able to see only developer and tester, and we can able to see only the scrum master. This BS or DS and DevOps people will not come into the scrum team. In some of the projects, we can able to see all these people. In some of the projects, we cannot able to see the BS and DS and DevOps in the scrum team. That's the reason just I'm saying it as a optional, but compulsory we can able to see the developers, and we can able to see the testers, and we can able to see the scrum master, and we can able to see the product owners on top of your scrum team. Generally we can able to see the 7 to 8 members, or we can able to see 5 to 6 members. Very rarely we can able to see 10 to 12 members team. Okay, there is a possibility by depending on the project scope or by depending on the project budget, and within the same team you can able to see either 7 to 8 members, or within the same scrum team you can able to see only 5 to 6 members. In some of the teams we can able to see the 10 to 12 members, and but in general we can able to say in general in a scrum team better to have 6 to 8 members only. If we are having the less team, we can able to focus on the work very properly. At the same time, we can able to see the status of work also very properly. And that's why I'm saying that in general, a proper scrum team is nothing but that should contain only 6 to 8 members. But in the real time, no one is going to follow the original Agile methodology, and they are following Agile, but only for the name purpose only they are going to follow the Agile. That's the reason in real time, in some of the projects we can able to see the 7 to 8 members. In some of the projects we can able to see 5 to 6, or in some of the projects we can able to see the 10 to 12 members. But whatever it is, in the scrum team we can able to see the different type of the people. We can able to see the product owners, we can able to see the scrum master, we can able to see the developer, tester, and BS and DS and DevOps engineer. Indirectly we can able to see, we can able to say within the scrum team we can able to see cross functional knowledge people. We can able to see the cross functional knowledge people, which is nothing but we can able to see the dev people, we can able to see the testing people, we can able to see the management people. All those kind of people we can able to see as part of our scrum team. That's the reason scrum team indirectly we can able to call it as nothing but in this team we are going to contain the cross functional knowledge people. Again, just for your understanding, if you see here I given the small diagram, and so what we are having in the cross functional team or in the scrum team, we can able to see the 7 members. What is the meaning of plus or minus 2? Plus is nothing but 7 plus 2 8. We can able to see the 9 members. Minus is nothing but 7 minus 2. We can able to see the only 5 to 6 members also. That is the meaning of the plus or minus 2 and But here what kind of people we can able to see? We can able to see the multiple developers, and we can able to see the testers, and we can able to see the tech lead, or we can able to call it as a dev lead. At the same time, we can able to see the product owners, and we can able to see the scrum master. All these are the different people we can able to see as part of our scrum team. Okay, and again this is one of the interview question, Andy. Simply they will ask a question like this: tell me, in your scrum team, what all are different kind of the people working? What we can able to say? In my team, we are having developer, we are having tester, we are having the scrum master, we are having the product owner. If you want, you can able to say we are having the BS or BS, and we can able to say it as a DevOps also. One more thing I can able to say just for understanding, Andy, this also we can able to call it as a optional. Because nowadays what's happening is to reduce the cost in the projects, Andy, developers only perform in the testing. That's the reason nowadays if you observe in the market, we are not having, or we can able to say we are having very less calls for testers. Okay, once this Agile came into the picture in the market, we are seeing the very less number of openings for the testers. What's the reason? Once Agile came into the picture, they are assigning multiple tasks to the same person. Same person is going to work as a developer, same person is going to work as a tester, same person is going to work as a BA, same person is going to work as a DA, same person is going to work as a data modeler. Because that is the one more principle we need to follow in the Agile, and as part of Agile, as a team member, you need to improve your skill set in different areas. Okay, this is the one more principle we need to follow as part of our Agile. You need to improve your skill set in the different areas. What it means indirectly? You are the developer, you are going as a data engineer, as a developer into the real-time system. But as a Scrum Master, for example, in our project, we don't have any testers and we haven't recruited any tester. Then what Scrum Master will say? In this sprint, you work as a developer. In the next sprint, you work as a tester. For example, in that team, we are having team member 1. And we are having team member 2. Now, what will happen is Scrum Master will say, first 15 days, team member 1, you work as a developer, and team member 2, you work as a tester. Now, after 15 days, what will happen is he will change. This person need to work as a tester. This person need to work as a developer. Again, after 15 days, might be Scrum Master will come and he will say, please act as a DA and please act as a BA. So like this, what will happen? If you are going to work in the Scrum, you need to extend your skill set, and you yourself has to work as a developer. You yourself has to work as a tester. You yourself has to work as a data analyst. But here, as a Scrum Master, what he will do here is he will give enough time to you to get knowledge on all the areas. At the same time, as a Scrum Master, he will guide you and he will help you to ramp up in different areas. Okay, because this is the one of the responsibility of the Scrum Master. And now tell me here, out of all these people, who is going to perform the real development work or testing work? Scrum Master will not do any kind of development work. Your product owner will not do any kind of development work. Who is going to perform the development or real testing? And developers or testers are going to work on your development activities or testing activities. Then what is the role of the Scrum Master? He is not doing any kind of coding, but his responsibility is nothing but he need to coordinate all these team members. And if you are having the 7 to 8 members of the team, what Scrum Master need to do here? He need to coordinate with all team members. This is the first responsibility we can able to say. He need to coordinate with all the team members. Second one, he need to collect status from each and every team member. And as a Scrum Master, he need to remove hurdles for team members to complete the work. What is the meaning of hurdle? For example, you are doing one development activity. You require as a developer, for example, you need to do ingestion into GCS from the local system. You want to perform the ingestion on top of the GCS, and in the local system, you are having some files. You need to upload all these files into your GCS bucket. That is your work. That is the work assigned to you. Now, to perform this work, what is the prerequisite? In the local system, you should have all the files. Without having the files, you cannot able to perform any kind of ingestion activities, or you cannot able to perform the uploading activities on top of your GCS bucket. Now, for example, here in your local system, you don't have any files. Without having the files, can we be able to complete our dev work? Obviously no, right? Now, who need to help you? Your Scrum Master will take the status on every day, and as part of that meeting, you need to escalate this. You have to say, in the local system, we don't have any kind of the files. For that reason, I cannot able to proceed on top of this task. Once you are going to share this information to the Scrum Master, what Scrum Master will do here? Scrum Master will check with source team, and he will ask source team to send the files immediately. Immediately, what is the hurdle here? Indirectly, what is the hurdle here? In the local system, we don't have any kind of the files. Without having the files, we cannot able to complete the dev activity. That is the hurdle. You need to inform all these hurdles to your Scrum Master during our meetings, and after that, Scrum Master will take care of clearing all these kind of hurdle. That is the role of the Scrum Master in our real-time system. He is not going to perform any kind of coding. He is not going to perform any kind of development, but he need to coordinate with all the team members, and he need to understand what is the status of each and every task from the team member. At the same time, he need to remove any kind of hurdles which team members are facing in the project. At the same time, he need to ramp up team members skill set. If you remember earlier in the above statements I told you, right? As a team member in the Agile, you need to work on the multiple skills only. But who is going to ramp up you here? Your Scrum Master is going to provide the plan to you. In next 1 month, please complete this training. Within 3 months, complete this training. Within 6 months, complete this training. With that, you can able to work on the other activities also. That kind of plan will be prepared by your Scrum Master. What is the role of the Scrum Master again here? He need to ramp up the team member skill set. With that, same team member can able to work on the multiple activities within the team. And for that reason, your Scrum Master is going to ramp up the team members as part of our real-time system. Indirectly, we can able to say all these kind of activities will be taken care by your Scrum Master. At the same time, as a Scrum Master, he will handle all Agile ceremonies in the project. Agile ceremonies are nothing but here as part of Agile process only, we are going to have the multiple meetings. We are going to have sprint planning meeting. After that, we are going to have daily stand-up meeting, or we can able to call it as a Scrum meeting. And we are going to have one more meeting called as a retrospective meeting. And we are going to have one more meeting called as a backlog grooming meeting. So like this, we can able to see the different types of the meetings, or we can able to call it as nothing but different ceremonies we can able to see as part of our Agile process. Again, this is the one of the interview question. And in the interview, they will ask the question, as part of your project, you are saying you are following the Agile methodology. Can you please tell me what are the different types of ceremonies you are having in the project? What is the meaning of ceremony? It's nothing but we are having the different kind of the meetings as part of our Agile process. And we are going to have the sprint planning meeting, and we are going to have the daily stand-up meeting, and we are going to have the retrospective meeting, and we are going to have the backlog grooming meeting. And so like this, we are going to have different types of the meetings or different types of the ceremonies as part of our Agile project, but Agile methodology. But tell me here, who is going to organize all these meetings? Our Scrum Master. Okay, as a developer or as a tester, you are not going to worry about all these kind of meetings, but you need to participate in the meeting. But who will schedule all these meetings? Scrum Master. Who will coordinate all these meetings? Scrum Master. That's the reason here we can able to say, as a Scrum Master, this is the one more responsibility he need to perform as part of our real-time projects. And overall, we can able to say Scrum Master will coordinate with all the team members. Scrum Master can able to collect the status from each and every team member. Scrum Master is going to remove the hurdles of the team member. Scrum Master is need to ramp up the team members, and Scrum Master is going to handle all the ceremonies of the project like sprint planning, daily stand-up, or we can able to call it as a Scrum meeting, retrospective meeting, and backlog grooming meeting. All these kind of meetings are going to handle by our Scrum Master as part of our real-time projects. Okay, and one more thing here we need to understand, in the Agile we are going to follow iterative approach. As part of interviews, they will ask a question like this, Andy. What is the duration of your iteration? Or instead of calling it as iteration, we can able to call it as a sprint. Andy, sprint is nothing but within the how much duration you are going to deliver the product, that we can able to call it as a iteration, or we can able to call it as a sprint. As part of interviews, they will ask the question, what is the duration of your sprint? Or they will ask the question, what is the duration of your iteration? What's the answer we can able to say? Already we discussed about this statement above. We can able to say 2 weeks, or we can able to say 3 weeks. Don't go beyond this Sunday, because earlier we are having the 4-week sprint, or we are having the 4 weeks iteration also. But nowadays, in most of the projects or in most of the companies, we are following 2 weeks of the sprint, or we are going to follow the 3 weeks of the sprint. If you ask me, I can able to say compared to 2 weeks and 3 weeks, you can able to say perfect answer is 2 weeks. Because again, I think I can able to say before 1.5 years or 2 years only, in most of the companies we are seeing the 3 weeks, but at present in most of the companies or in most of the projects we are going to see the 2 weeks duration. If you want, you can able to say 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but what is the best answer I can able to say? Sprint duration is nothing but we can able to say it as a 2 weeks. Otherwise, just to remove your confusion, I will say only 2 weeks. Otherwise, you will get the confusion whether I need to say 2 weeks or 3 weeks only. Forgot about the 3 weeks, forgot about the 4 weeks. Come up with the perfect answer. What is the duration of the sprint? We can able to say It's not 2 weeks sprint, or we can able to say it's a 2 weeks iteration. Now you tell me, we are going to have the sprint planning. Now this sprint planning we are going to have every day, or we are going to have the every 2 weeks once. We can able to say every 2 weeks, okay, which is nothing but whenever iteration is going to start or whenever a sprint is going to start, and at that time we are going to have the sprint planning. Now what about daily standard meeting? This we are having daily, and duration of this meeting should be only 15 minutes. What is the duration of this meeting? It should be only 15 minutes. But once you are going to work in the real-time project, you are going to attend the daily standard meeting. But trust me, this meeting will go for sometimes 1 hour, 1.5 hours, or 2.5 hours, 2 hours also. But still they are saying that we are following the Agile methodology. If you are really following the Agile methodology, what need to happen? This daily standard meeting has to complete within 15 minutes only. And in this meeting, just we need to discuss about status of the task. But in the real time, generally what will happen is, in this meeting, we'll discuss all the things, and we'll discuss about the status. People are discussing about the issues. People are discussing about the politics. People are discussing about the movies. Like that, they are going to cover everything as part of the daily stand-up only. But still they're saying that we are following Agile. That's the reason earlier I mentioned, in the real time, no one is following the perfect Agile methodology. If you want to follow the perfect Agile methodology, what need to happen? You need to complete the daily stand-up meeting within the 15 minutes. In this 15 minutes, what we need to do here? Just we need to provide the status of the task only. And as a team member, you have to specify yesterday what you did, and today what you are going to perform, or what activities you are going to perform. And we need to highlight if you are having any kind of issues or you are having any kind of blockers. Only these 3 statements you have to specify as part of our Scrum meeting. Now you tell me, to specify actually only these 3 statements only, how much time it will take? For a person, max 1 or 2 minutes it will take. With that, within 15 minutes only we are going to complete the work. But generally what will happen is, if a person is going to raise the issue, immediately what will happen? Other people will start involved. They are discussing about what is the issue, why that issue came, how to solve the issue. All the discussions are happening in the Scrum meeting only. That's the reason it is extending for 15 minutes to 1 hour or 1.5 hours also. But if you are following real Agile methodology, as part of real Agile methodology, what need to happen here? We need to complete the daily stand-up meeting within 15 minutes. In that within 15 minutes, we have to discuss about what we did yesterday, what we are planning today, what are the issues we are having, and what are the blockers we are having to complete your work. Now tell me, who need to provide all this kind of information? Scrum Master will give, or as a team member you have to give this information? As a team member, you have to give this information. You need to give this information to the Scrum Master, or you need to give this information to all the team members in the Scrum team. You need to give this information to all the team members. And don't assume that in the Scrum you are working as an individual person. Within the Scrum, what is going to happen? This is the one more important statement. In Scrum, we need to work as a team. So within the Scrum, what need to happen? You need to work as a team. And for example, team member 1 facing issue, and you are the team member 2. Okay. Now you know the solution of that issue. Now what we can do here? We need to explain the solution to the team member, or simply we can able to skip him. You have to explain the solution to the team member 1. With that, what will happen? He also can able to complete the sprint, and you also can able to complete the task in the sprint. For example, see here, at the end of the sprint, if we are not completing all the tasks, what will happen? It will impact only one person, or it will impact entire team? It will impact the entire team. That's the reason, as part of the Scrum, you need to work as a team. Don't think that I will do my work and I will go from office only. You have to do your work. At the same time, you need to understand what other team members are doing. At the same time, we need to understand what issues other team members are facing. But when you can able to discuss all this kind of information as part of daily stand-up meeting, all the team members are going to participate. Every team member is going to provide the updates only. Now, if you are going to provide your update, you need to leave the meeting, or you have to stay in the meeting only. You have to stay in the meeting. You need to listen what other team members are doing. You need to listen what issues other team members are facing. If you can able to provide the solution for the team member, you can able to provide the solution also as part of to the team member. With that, what will happen? All the team members can able to complete the work within the sprint. With that, we can able to achieve the goal of the sprint, and that's the reason we can able to say within the sprint we need to work as a team. If you are going to work as a team, you need to understand other team member status and you need to understand other team member issues also. But where we can able to understand all this kind of information with the daily stand-up meeting, you can able to understand all the status of all the team members. At the same time, you can able to understand what issues other team members are facing. With that, you can able to help to other people. That's the reason this daily stand-up meeting is going to play the very important role as part of our Scrum process. Okay, and duration of this meeting is nothing but 15 minutes. Now you tell me, who is going to handle this meeting in the real time? That's the main topic. Who is going to handle? Our Scrum Master. Who is going to handle the sprint planning? Scrum Master. Whatever the meetings we are discussing, all these meetings are going to handle by your Scrum Master. But in that topic, we are discussing about what is the meaning of the sprint planning meeting and what is the meaning of the daily stand-up meeting. And in the same way, we are going to have the one more meeting called as nothing but retrospective meeting. As part of this meeting, we'll discuss about what went well in the sprint. And we are going to discuss about what not went well in the sprint. And we are going to discuss one more thing called as nothing but any improvements are required in the process. In process or in your system. So all these kind of the points we are going to discuss. Where we are going to discuss only these kind of topics we are going to discuss in the retrospective meeting. Now here we'll discuss about what went well in the sprint. What is the meaning of the statement? What is the duration of the sprint? 2 weeks. 2 weeks as a team member, you did the so many activities only. Now in this retrospective meeting, what you can able to say? You can able to highlight what you did extra activities on top of that 15 days or within that 2 weeks of time. Whatever the extra activities you have performed, you can able to highlight all that kind of information in our retrospective meeting, which is nothing but whatever the things went well for you, you can able to highlight all such kind of information as part of your retrospective meeting. For example, before starting the sprint, you don't know about the brick, you don't know about data bricks. Now, first time you are working on data bricks in the sprint. So you are working in a sprint. First time you are working on the data bricks in the sprint. Now, successfully you completed all tasks in the sprint by using Databricks. Now tell me, can we call it as achievement or not? Obviously say achievement, because first time you learn the Databricks, you are working in the sprint first time on top of Databricks, and you completed all the tasks within that time. Even if you're working as a first time only, then what obviously what we can do here, we can able to highlight that information as part of our retrospective meeting. In this sprint, I worked on the Databricks first time. I completed all my tasks within that time only. That is went well as part of this sprint. That is the way we can able to explain what went well on top of your sprint. In the same way, if you are facing any kind of issues during your sprint only, you can able to highlight that information what not went well. So we can able to highlight what not went well. First one, what went well. Second one, what not went well. That information we can able to highlight as part of our retrospective meeting. Other than that, we can able to highlight you are seeing any kind of improvements in the process. If you are having any such kind of suggestions, those also we can able to provide as part of our retrospective meeting. Now you tell me, who is giving all this information in this meeting? Who will share all this info? As a team members of Scrum, you have to give all these kind of inputs in the retrospective planning. Who is collecting all this information? Your Scrum Master. Okay, your Scrum Master will collect all this kind of information. For example, you are suggesting some kind of improvements, and what Scrum Master will do here, he will verify is there any possibility for such kind of improvement. If there is any possibility for such kind of improvement, your Scrum Master will take care of all the improvements and everything. But here, as a team member, you have to specify what went well, what not went well, what improvements are required. This kind of information as a team member you have to specify. But only one team member has to specify this information, or all the team members has to give this information. Obviously, Scrum Master will give the chance for all the team members, Andy. But tell me, in every sprint, can you be able to highlight the what went well? In one sprint, you are doing very good. In the second sprint, you are doing the only normal activities, Andy. In the situation, you can able to say, in this sprint, nothing went well. We did the normal activities only. Like that, you can able to give your input. If really anything went well, we can able to say, in this sprint, this went well. That is the way, by depending on your work or by depending on your task, we can able to specify all this kind of information as part of our retrospective meeting. Okay. Again, this is the one interview question, Andy. Can you please explain me? In the retrospective meeting, what are the things we are going to discuss? What we can able to say? We are going to discuss about the task priority. We are going to discuss about what tasks we need to work. Are we going to discuss all those things here? We are not going to discuss all those things, only 3 things. What are those? What went well, what not went well, and what improvements are required. Only these are the things we are going to cover as part of our retrospective meeting. Now you try to give the answer. What is the when we are going to conduct this retrospective meeting? Daily or weekly or every sprint? We can able to say every 2 weeks, indirectly after completion of the sprint. After completion of the sprint, we are going to, Scrum Master is going to conduct the retrospective meeting. In that retrospective meeting, we are going to discuss about all these things. And now you try to give the answer. What about the sprint planning? In the sprint planning, what we are going to discuss? Very simple. We will discuss about all the tasks which are planned for next 2 weeks, and we'll discuss about priority for all these tasks, and tasks will assign to team members. Okay, here we are having the 2 options, Andy. One thing, as a team member, you yourself can able to pick the task. For example, we are having the 10 different tasks. As a team member, what we can do here, you can able to go and you can able to pick whatever the task you want. For example, a task is there, no one is picking that task. Then what will happen? Scrum Master will come into the picture. He will assign the task to the other people, and that's the reason here we can able to say, in the sprint planning, we are going to discuss about each and every task in detail. At the same time, we are going to discuss about what is the priority of that task. At the same time, you yourself can able to pick the task. Otherwise, your Scrum Master will assign the task to you, Andy. And one more thing here, as part of this meeting, sprint planning, we are going to discuss about capacity of the team. What is the meaning of capacity here? For example, we are having 6 members. These 6 members are going to work for 2 weeks. But tell me, within the 2 weeks, how many days we are going to work? Duration is 2 weeks. But within the 2 weeks, how many days we are going to work? In every week, we are going to work for only 10 days. That is the advantage of the IT industry, Andy. In a week, we are going to work for only Monday to Friday, which is nothing but within the 2 weeks, we are going to work for 10 days. If you are going to work for 10 days, Andy, now here, for example, we are having 6 members. In every day, how many number of hours we are going to work? It's a 8 hours. Indirectly, we can able to say one person can able to spend 80 hours. Now indirectly we can able to say 6 members. How many hours we can able to say? It's nothing but around 480 hours. Okay, we can able to say here indirectly, this is nothing but our capacity of the team, Andy. So as part of this sprint planning, Scrum Master is going to collect the capacity also, and he need to understand the capacity. As per that, we are going to select all the tasks on top of the sprint, Andy. Now, for example, out of these 6 members, for example, 1 member going on leave for 5 days. Then tell me what is going to happen indirectly. Your team capacity is going to reduce from 480 hours to, for example, 440 hours. Now you tell me, we need to take the 480 hours of work, or we need to take the only 440 hours of the work? Obviously, we have to take only 440 hours of the work. And for that reason, as part of this sprint planning, Scrum Master will take the capacity of the team. He will try to understand how many members are going on leave, or how many leaves team members are going to take. All this kind of calculation is going to happen. As per that, we are going to take that task as part of our sprint planning, Andy. At the same time, here we'll discuss about story points. Story point is nothing but, for each and every story, we need to specify how much time required to complete. Actually, in the Agile, coming to story points, we can give the 2 different definitions, Andy. One, we can able to call it as nothing but, based on complexity, we can assign story points. based on the complexity, we can able to assign the story points as part of our Agile. But in some of the projects, what's happening is based on duration of the work. In some projects, people are giving story points. Okay, but if you want to follow perfect Agile methodology, how on what basis we have to give the story points? Only based on the complexity, we need to provide the story points. But as I told you earlier, in the real time, every project is following the different kind of principles. And in some of the projects, they are given the story points by considering the duration of the work. They are given the story points. But in general, we can able to say we need to assign the story points by depending on the complexity of the work. At the same time, here we need to understand one more thing. Whenever we are going to provide the story points, we need to follow Fibonacci series. What is the meaning of Fibonacci series? It is starting from 1, 2, after that 3, after that 5, next 8, after that 13. Like that, and so this is the call. This we can able to call it as a Fibonacci series. Now, for example, for a particular story, I am given the one story point. What it means indirectly, as per the Agile principle. As per the Agile principle, for a particular story, we are given the one point. What it means indirectly. That is the very simple task. And so see here in this line, what I'm saying, whenever we are given the story points as per the Agile principle, what we are saying here, based on the complexity. Based on the complexity, we need to assign the story point. For a particular story, I am given the story point is nothing but 1. What it means indirectly, we can able to say here, this is nothing but it's a very simple story, or we can able to call it as this is very easy story. And for example, for a particular story, I am given the 5 points or I am given the 8 points. Then what we can able to say? That is a kind of a complex story, or that is the we can able to call it as a very complex story. But that is applicable when we are going to follow the Agile principle. But as I told you, in some of the projects, we are given the story points by depending on the duration of the work. Now, in this situation, for example, for a particular story, I am given the 2 points. What it means indirectly? 2 points are nothing but we can able to take it as a 2 days, which is nothing but we need to complete this work within 16 hours. So this is the way. In some of the projects, we are given the story points based on the complexity. In some of the projects, we are given the story points based on the duration of the work. That's the reason, as part of this sprint planning, we need to assign the story points for each and every story. So indirectly, if you observe in the sprint planning, how many things are going to happen? We need to discuss about all the tasks. At the same time, we need to discuss about what is the priority for each and every task. And also we need to assign the task to team members. We need to check what is the capacity of the team. At the same time, we need to assign the story points for each and every story. All these kind of activities are going to happen as part of our sprint planning. Again, the same question. Who is going to handle the sprint planning? Our Scrum Master. But tell me, who is going to provide the story points to the stories?
Team leader.
Not a team leader. We can able to say it's a team members collective decision. Again, this is the one of the interview question. On what basis you will provide the story points for your story? What we can able to say here, it's a kind of a collective decision from the team members. What will happen here is your Scrum Master will open a story, or he will open a task, and he will ask that for every team member. He will ask, can you please tell me how many points we can assign to the story, and he will take this feedback from each and every team member. Now, for example, team member 1 is giving 2 points, team member 2 is giving 3 points, and team member 3 is giving, for example, 8 points. Now, tell me what will happen. We are collecting the story points from each and every team member. Now, for example, this person also given the 2 only. Then what will happen? All the team members are given the nearest equal to story points. And so with that, your Scrum Master will say it as either 2 or 3. That is the reasonable. For example, team member 1 is saying 2, team member 2 is saying 3, but team member 3 is saying 8. Now what's happening here? Some misunderstanding between the team members. Now Scrum Master will ask the question to team member 1, how you are saying that we can able to complete this work within 2 days. he will ask the same question to team member 3. Why you are feeling we need to complete this work for 8 days only? Like that, a together discussion is going to happen between all the team members. Finally, what will happen? All the team members will come into the same agreement. With that, either we can able to give the 2 points or 3 points, or we can able to provide the 5 points. For example, team member 3 is going to explain, as part of this task, we need to perform so many number of activities. With that, team member 1 also agreed. With that, what will happen? All the team members will discuss together about the story. With that, finally, they will decide how many number of story points we need to provide. With that, we are going to assign the story points on top of your stories. And for that reason, in the interview, they are going to ask the question, how you are going to define the story points in your team? What we can able to say? It's a kind of a collective discussion between the team members. Based on that, we are going to provide the story points as part of our Scrum meeting or sprint planning meeting. As part of our sprint planning meeting, we are going to perform all these kind of activities. Okay. Again, any questions up to here, please ask me. Just for your convenience, I'm highlighting this. This is sprint planning. And this is about daily stand-up, or we can able to call it as a Scrum meeting. And this is retrospective meeting. In the retrospective meeting, what will happen? As I told you, we are going to discuss about what went well, what not went well, and we are going to discuss about any improvements are required on top of your project. All those things we are going to cover as part of our retrospective meeting. One more last meeting is nothing but backlog grooming meeting. And in this meeting, what will happen is we will discuss or we will plan about future tasks. Whatever the future tasks we are planning, all those tasks we'll discuss. With that, what will happen here? We are preparing our future tasks. As part of this meeting, backlog grooming is nothing but grooming means what? We are increasing the number of tasks. How we are going to increase the number of tasks here? We are going to have the collective discussion again here. After the collective discussion, we'll try to discuss about what are the pending tasks we are having. With that, we will share all that information to the Scrum Master. With that, what will happen? We are going to conduct the one more meeting called as nothing but backlog grooming meeting. Again, who will take care of this backlog grooming meeting? Obviously, our Scrum Master. Overall, here we can able to say, as a Scrum Master, he is going to take care of the sprint planning meeting, and he is going to take care of the daily stand-up meeting, and he is going to take care of the retrospective meeting, and he is going to take care of the backlog grooming meeting. All these kind of meetings will be taken care by your Scrum Master. Now you try to give the answer. As a team member, in which meetings you are going to participate? We are participating obviously in all the meetings, and don't get the confusion. Scrum Master will take care of the meetings, but as a team member, what need to happen? You need to participate in each and every meeting as part of our real-time system. And this is the way simply we can able to understand what are the different ceremonies we are having in the Agile, and what are the different meetings we are going to have in the Agile. In every meeting, what we are going to discuss, all that information you can able to understand with all these details. At the same time, so far we discussed about what all are the roles of the Scrum Master. Now, in the same way, you try to give the answer. What all are the roles of, as a team member, what is your role? First one, what we can able to say, if you are the developer, as a developer, you need to complete all your assigned tasks. In the same way, if you are having the tester in the team, you can able to say, as a tester, you need to complete all the assigned tasks in your team. At the same time, try to give the answers. Already we discussed about responsibilities of the team member indirectly in the previous discussions.
Help to other.
Yeah, so we can able to say we need to update status in daily stand-up meeting. Obviously, we have to do this activity. Other than that, we can able to say we need to provide help to other team members on need basis. Next, you need to participate in all
each and every
Scrum ceremonies, or in all Scrum, whatever the meetings we discussed about, we have to participate in all those Scrum meetings. Obviously, as a team member, even if you are a developer or tester or BA or DA, anyone, and you are going to work in the Scrum team. If you are going to work as a team member in the Scrum team, obviously what need to happen? you need to take care of all these kind of activities as part of our real-time projects. Okay. Now, in the same way, so far we discussed about what is the role of the Scrum Master, and we discussed about what is the role of the team member. But if you are going to work in the real-time project, other than Scrum Master, other than the team members, we are having the one more person. Who is that? If you see this diagram, developers, testers, and tech lead, all these people comes under the team member. And we discussed about the Scrum Master. Other than Scrum Master, who is the one more person we are having? Product owner. So here, we can able to say, as a product owner, he will define all the priorities of the project. This is the first activity he is going to perform. And the second thing, as a product owner, he will have discussions with business team and he will gather all the requirements. At the same time, as a product owner, he will define timelines of the project. And as a product owner, he will help to prioritize the work during sprint planning meetings. So like this, just at the high level, we can able to say all these are the different kind of activities which are going to perform as a product owner. Now you tell me here, out of all these people, if you want to give the hierarchy, and who is the highest person in the Scrum? Team member or Scrum Master or product owner? We can able to say product owner is the kind of a top hierarchy person. After that, you can able to say Scrum Master. After that, you can able to say team members. Okay, but in the Scrum, everyone is equal only. So we are not having he is the higher person, he is the lower person. It's not like that. But just for understanding, I'm saying that product owner will come up with the high priorities. With that, Scrum Master is going to handle the team members. As a team member, during the sprint planning meeting, you also can able to specify this work we can able to complete later. This work we can able to complete immediately. Every person in the team, you can able to share your opinions. But as a product owner, he will come up with all the kind of the requirements and he is going to have the direct interaction with the business team. With that, he will try to understand the requirement. He will try to understand what is the expectation of the business team. He will gather all that information. With that, he is going to help to the Scrum Master. With that, Scrum Master is going to have the discussions with the team member. With that, all the people are going to work together within the team. With that, we are going to conduct all the meetings as part of our Agile methodology. All these are the things we need to understand as part of our Agile process. Okay. Up to here, again, any questions or confusions, please ask me. Yeah, we are going to. So yeah, I forgot to include that. Perfectly correct answer. We are going to have the sprint review also. As part of this sprint review, what will happen is we will review all the tasks and if any demos are required, we'll provide demos also here. So we are going to have the one more meeting called as nothing but sprint review meeting. And as part of sprint review meeting, what will happen? Whatever the tasks you completed, you are going to perform the review of the task. With whom you are going to perform the review? With whom? With all the team members. And whomever is there in the team, with all the team members, we are going to have this kind of sprint review. As part of sprint review, what we are going to do here, we are going to perform the review activity for each and every person tasks. And at the same time, if you are building a new product, further product, you can able to provide the demo also on top of our sprint review meeting. Again, when this meeting is going to happen, any guesses? After completion of the sprint. And we can able to say for every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, we are going to complete the sprint. In every 2 weeks, we are going to have the sprint review after completion of the sprint. And this is the one more meeting. I forgot to inform you about this. This is the one more meeting we can able to see as part of our Agile ceremonies, or we can able to call it as a Scrum ceremonies. Okay. Any other questions up to here? Okay. If no questions, Andy. So what I will do here is, if you see this PPT, here I mentioned that what are the different roles we can able to see in the Agile? Scrum Master, Product Owner, cross-functional team is nothing but our team members only, that we can able to call it as a cross-functional team. Whatever we discuss, we can able to see everything on top of these slides at the same time. Next, we can able to see how an Agile team is going to plan the work and what is the story, what is the point, what is the capacity. All this information you can able to see in this slide. After that, what are the different some ceremonies we are having? Sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective, backlog grooming, or we can able to call it as a backlog refinement. In this meeting, in every meeting, who all are the attendees? What is the purpose of the meeting? What is going to happen in that meeting? Indirectly, whatever we discuss in the notepad, I kept every information properly in the slides and at the same time. What are the artifacts we are going to prepare? We are going to prepare the prod backlog. We are going to prepare the sprint backlog. We are going to prepare the increment. At the same time, just here I given the summary. What is the summary? What are the roles we can able to see? Product owner, scrum master, development team. What ceremonies we can able to see? Sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. What artifacts we can able to see? Product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. All these are nothing but summary and indirectly from last 1.5 hour, whatever we are discussing, that we can able to call this is nothing but our summary. What I will do here is after completion of the class in next 1 or 2 hours Sunday, I will share all this information to you. Please go through all this in Sunday. With that, what will happen? You can able to get the clear picture what is happening as part of your Agile. At the same time, from the interview perspective, just they will ask 3 to 4 questions. What is Agile? Or what kind of ceremonies you are having in your project? Or in the sprint planning, what activities you will do? Or as a scrum master, what he will do? Like that, you are going to get 3 to 4 questions as part of your interview Sunday. But tell me, we are understanding about the Agile from the interview perspective or from the real-time perspective? From the real-time perspective, that's very, very important because in the real time, if you are going to work in the project, every day, what meeting we need to attend? We have to attend daily scrum meeting. For example, you got the invite saying that attend this daily scrum meeting every day. And after receiving this meeting invite, you went to your team lead and you are asking the question to team lead, can you tell me what is this daily scrum meeting? And you are going with the 3 to 4 years of experience. What will happen? First day only they can understand, okay, you are the kind of a fake employee. Your background verification is completed, but as part of the project, you are raising this kind of basic questions. With the basic questions only, they can understand you are real-time employee or you are a kind of a fake employee. And that's the reason in the real time, in most of the projects, we are going to see the Agile methodology. If you are going to follow the Agile methodology, compulsory we need to understand about all these kind of terminologies and what is the role of product owner, scrum master, development team, sprint planning. Like that, you need to understand about all these kind of terminologies. For that reason, we are discussing all these points and don't think about only from the interview perspective. This is important. It is important from the real-time work perspective also. For that reason, please go through all these things. But tell me here, do we need to buy out anything here? No need to buy out. Try to understand, okay, what is happening in the sprint planning, what is happening in the daily sprint. Just to try to understand. No need to buy out here because in the interview they'll ask only 2-3 questions only. That's the reason. Don't try to buy out. Try to understand what is happening in every ceremony or what is the role of each and every person. With that, you can able to get the proper knowledge on top of our Agile methodology. Okay. Now, in this 1.5 hour, we discussed everything completely theoretically. And now what we'll do here is in the 11:45 session. In 11:45 session, I will show you all these things in practical. In 11:45 session, I will show you all these things in practical. So what we are discussing about the stories, we are discussing about the points and all the things we are discussing, right? So for the purpose of doing all these activities in the real time, we are going to use the Jira tool, or we can able to call, we are using the Jira application. In the 11:45 session, I will show you how to install the Jira or how we need to open the Jira application. Within the Jira application, I will show you how we can able to create the stories. After creation of the stories, how we need to move the stories. All these kind of topics we'll discuss in the 11:45 session. With that, you can able to get the clear knowledge on the Agile. At the same time, you can able to get the clear knowledge on top of the Jira application. With that, easily you can able to clear the interviews. At the same time, easily you can able to survive in the real-time projects. Okay, we'll meet in the 11:45 session. Thank you.